Day in and day out, the market closes, I sit down, I turn on the camera, I make sure my voice sounds absolutely crisp, and I have recently been telling you how insane the market is. And in all reality, I'm running out of words. I don't think that the English dictionary is big enough to encapsulate all the words that I possibly need to explain how absurd this situation is, but the TLDR is this: trading right now in this environment absolutely sucks. None of it makes sense. Good news sends the market down, bad news sends the market up. Before you know it, we're going to be going inside out, and that's going to become the new normal. But yes, chaos is high, uncertainty is high, and trading is straight up not fun right now. And as you're about to see in this video, today was nothing less than absolutely wild. Of course, if you enjoyed these market breakdowns, don't forget to like, subscribe. Maybe it'll keep me just a little bit sane. With that being said, let's rock. By the time the world's largest casino went dingity ding 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 and officially closed on the day, here was Lamestream's media headline. Dow closes 400 points higher, but end session well off of the highs of the day. Yes, that is technically true, but it doesn't fully encapsulate all of the chaos that all of us degenerate day traders had to deal with. To have a better understanding of what happened today, we have to rewind to market open. But I'm not talking about the normal pit session open at 9:30 a.m. I'm talking about the futures market open last night at 6 p.m. If we want to get really technical, we had some breaking news right before that, so we were pretty much closer to market close last night. But man, oh man, did it cause some excitement in the market. Why Trump decided not to try to fire Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed, the guy with his hand on top of the money printer who controls the central bank. Well, we all know that there's been drama. I mean, we've been covering it in this channel, the kind of daddy and mommy divorcing, fighting, that whole spat. Well, apparently Trump is saying, no, I don't want to fire him. I'm telling him what he should do, but I'm not going to fire him. The market obviously really liked that. Very quickly, for those of you who are curious of how we got to where we are, apparently two of the people within his administration, the Treasury Secretary and the Commerce Secretary, basically told him to chill out. And then Trump said, okay, I will chill out. And we got that announcement around 5 or 5:30 right before the futures market opened. And on top of that, we got another important update. China signaled openness to U.S. trade talks, but warns against continued threats. Obviously, on the 1-2 combo punch of China seemingly willing to talk as long as we don't threaten them anymore, and also this drama related to Trump and Powell calming down, the market liked it, and they liked it a lot, because when the futures market opened at 6 p.m., pretty much gapped up anywhere from 2 to 3%. And yes, there was quite a bit of bullish excitement. And now this is the point in the story where we have to fast forward a little bit to the normal pit session open, where things got even better, even more neon green. White House considered slashing China tariffs to de-escalate trade war. All right, awesome. That's pretty great. More specifically, it was announced by the Wall Street Journal that President Trump is considering cutting tariffs on China, likely down to between 50 and 65% to ease tensions. No final decision has been made, but options remain open. And even though this isn't the biggest deal, but it is a couple sprinkles on top of this very exciting green Sunday, Vietnam starts trade talks with the US. Once again, just another signal of progress being made in all of this chaos. And then, as many childhood fairy tales go, as you're prancing along thinking that nothing could ever go wrong, it does. And this time, it went horribly wrong. In fact, we got our balls kicked into our pelvis. Jim Cramer says the bear market rally could become a real recovery. Folks, that was the dagger right in the heart. It just sapped all of the joy out of us, completely drained, just when we thought we were finally getting our footing, finally had a nice foundation to bounce off of and get that Vanna V-shaped bullish recovery we've all been dreaming about. It was stolen from us, and it was all because of Jimbo Cramer. Right when he said that, we should have known that it was a brutal fake out, because something that looked so incredibly nice was just gone. Breaking. The White House press secretary says there will be no unilateral reduction in tariffs against China. Trump is putting the ball in China's court. Basically, she's reiterating the rumors that we heard throughout the day, and it all kind of started with the Treasury Secretary. Treasury Secretary Bessent says China and U.S. have an opportunity for a big deal on trade. At 10 a.m. this morning, 30 minutes into the trading day, he had this big press conference, this big speech, a sit-down Q&A, and some of it sounded good, and by the time we got to the end of it, and some of the clarification at the end, is really when the train started to go off the tracks. The U.S. Treasury Secretary says a trade deal with China may take 2 to 3 years to reach. That is exactly not what we wanted to hear. And before you know it, all those gap up bullish gains and even the push we had early morning started to quickly fall, and then it got worse. Trump blames Zelensky as Ukraine peace talks stumble. All those uncertainties related to the global political situation that we thought were simmering down, well, apparently they're not. And we all were informed of this from Trump on his own True Social, where he basically called out Zelensky and said, hey, why are you making things way worse than they need to be? In summary, President Trump says Ukrainian President Zelensky's comments to the Wall Street Journal were very harmful to the peace negotiations with Russia. Trump says Zelensky told the Wall Street Journal that Ukraine will not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea, which, for those of you who need a quick history lesson, Russia very much believes is theirs. So putting that entire mess of a day together is exactly how you get this stock chart. The S&P 500 gapped up, pushed on all that positive news from the overnight session, early in the morning session, and then we started to get the clarification about the US and China. Then we got some of the news about Ukraine and Russia, and then all of a sudden we try to bounce, and then we get hit again, and then that led us right to the close where technically we were green on the day, but not as green as we were once. And even the options market didn't know what to do. This wasn't just the equities market. Options market bounced, and then you could see really the train came off the track around 11:20. It seemingly tried to recover around 12:30, but really just couldn't get its legs beneath it. Looking at the larger equity market, yes, the SPY gained 1.5%. The NASDAQ was up about 2.3%. Other equities such as Palantir and Tesla looked actually good. We're overall pretty green, but we really gave back quite a few gains. It is interesting as I'm filming this live that something must be announced because I'm seeing a bit of a pop. Looking at the heat map of the S&P 500, once again, all pretty green, but not as green as it was this morning. We gave back quite a bit of money, but who knows? Maybe we're just creating a higher foundation. I hope we bounce off of this, but you should know that by the time you're watching this, we're going to be having some breaking news. At 5 p.m. Eastern, like I said, you probably already watched this video, President Trump will be speaking live, and it's going to be most likely regarding recent tariff developments. If it's positive news, look for a giant gap up. If it's horrible news, look for a giant gap down. I don't know what it's going to be. My best advice is flip a quarter. I have no clue. On a quick side note, with all this uncertainty, we've all been paying attention to the fact that gold is hitting an all-time high. I want to give a quick shout out to Bitcoin, which has really found its own way. Bitcoin is officially surpassing Google and becoming the 5th largest asset in the world by market cap. The all-time high is 109. We're not that far from a new record level. Like I said, we kind of pumped, pulled back, made a higher low. The overall chart of digital gold looking pretty nice. So anyway, worthwhile to pay attention to. I should also call out that tomorrow, Thursday the 24th, before the market opens, 8:30, an hour before the market opens, we're getting durable goods and initial jobless claims. And also, please don't forget that we are in the middle of earnings season. Before the market opens tomorrow, American Airlines, Southwest. After the market closes, Intel and Alphabet, aka Google. So please make sure you are paying attention to them, especially if they're in your portfolio. That's what I have for you for right now. I appreciate all the good vibes. I very much hope that you are surviving this chaos. And if anything, I hope you're thriving in this chaos. But for me, on a personal note, I'm just trying to not blow up my account. And right now, things are not looking that good. So hopefully this chaos, this insanity can calm down soon. That's what I have for you. I'll catch you in the next one. Best of luck. Peace.